Welcome back to Bloom. It can be easy to show compassion towards others, and it is just as important to show compassion towards ourselves. Joining us to discuss ways to practice self-compassion daily is licensed mental health counselor Samantha Stevenson with McNulty Counseling and Wellness. Welcome back to Bloom.
Thank you for having me again.
It's always great to have you. You're always so helpful with information about how we can kind of pivot and be a little bit more mentally healthy as we approach our day. And part of that is self-compassion. It's so hard to show to ourselves.
You're right, exactly. Sometimes it's like really easy to be self-compassionate towards other people or show them the kindness or what we'd want to show to ourselves, but it's harder to kind of give it to ourselves when we are experiencing a really challenging time or difficult feeling that, it's harder to pass that kindness off because we have that self-critic in our head that's saying, like all that negative self-talk in our head where, we wouldn't say that to our friend or we wouldn't say that to somebody we don't know.
Yeah, when people say, oh, you're your own worst critic, I think that's true for a lot of us. I would never say to my friends and family what I say to myself, but it's incredibly important to realize how to start practicing self-compassion, right?
Right. So like in those kind of first steps, it could be just acknowledging that whatever it is that we're going through at that time is hard. Mm-hmm. It could be statements like, yeah, right now what I'm going through is a difficult time, or, what can I say to myself to be kinder to myself? We can also practice like self-care in these instances. So like filling our cup first. What can we do to take care of ourselves before I take care of somebody else? Whether that be through mental activities, social activities, spiritual or religious activities, emotional things, anything that we can kind of do to take care of ourselves and give back to ourselves when we're having that kind of difficult time too.
And I think another reason that this seems so important to start learning how to practice self-compassion is that it could maybe build your self-esteem, which is an issue for really people of all ages. I think especially women, no matter what age you are.
Exactly right. So when we are kinder to ourselves, we're not listening to that negative self-talk or that critic voice inside our heads. We're being kind and, we're saying what we would say to other people in those kind of moments. And, and when we do practice self-compassion, it also can reduce anxiety, it can reduce depression, and it also can improve our relationships with other people because we're being more in tune with what we're feeling, so we're being in tune with what they're feeling, and then, we have more solid or understanding of what the other person's going through too.
Yeah, and you mentioned a few little tips about starting to practice self-compassion, like maybe pour yourself a cup of coffee first and then pour, just like little exercises. Anything else that we can think to do?
It could also mean like maybe you wake up like 5 minutes earlier and you go to Starbucks or go someplace and treat yourself to something that day. Now that doesn't mean like we overindulge in those things, just because I'm having a hard time doesn't mean I get to lay around in bed all day today. That's not what it is either. It means, yes, we still have to go through with what we have to do, but we can, make it a little bit more fun or enjoyable throughout that day, or, do something nice for ourselves, whether it be taking a bubble bath with a bath bomb or something, anything like to just kind of show that kindness to yourself.
And then, as you say, this is a direct tie to self-esteem.
Yes.
All right, yeah, that is really interesting to know. So do you see like one group versus any other that it's harder for them to practice? No,
I think this across the
board?
Everyone kind of struggles with self-compassion and being kind to ourselves. Like that negative self-talk is really easy to fall into because that's where our brain's naturally wired to go sometimes, where it's harder to go towards that positive self-talk or, like I am this or I am creative or I am funny. It's a lot harder to kind of go and believe those things where it's easier to, say those negative things about ourselves across the board for anybody.
We have just under a minute, but are you a fan of affirmations, like saying things out loud, like I am able to do this,
Right, that's what I have my clients do all the time. Like I want you to write me a list of all those positive qualities or traits that you have about yourself. Like write it out, tell somebody else. Like it might sound weird, like going up to your mom or dad or your aunt, uncle, or a friend going like, hey, I am funny, I am creative, I am intelligent, but that only reinforces those positive qualities to you, just in a different way. It makes them a little bit easier to accept later on.
Great advice as always. We certainly appreciate you joining us, and you can visit Samantha's website at McNultyCounseling.com. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you for having me again.
All right, we'll be back with more Bloom right after this.